Hi, thanks for stopping by. Today is Friday, February 20th, 2026. Quick pitch deck here on content. Wanted to consolidate MBA examples we have running here with our tech stack. Let's get going. So this is kind of a quick MBA recap. So I put this up here so y'all want to go to these particular URLs. They're at essentially calendarainvite.com. That is an HTTPS site with the backslashes because it's Substack. Essentially, if you go there, you'll see a whole bunch of content is the point. And the one I'm going to cue off here is the NFL, NBA, and MLB stuff we've been doing. So here's the sites. The particular sites there are between the CalendarSnack site, the CalendarInvite server itself you can download off of GitHub. We have a content site at calendarainvite.com, a contrarian site at email death. We have a button site here, RSVP button. And then certainly we have traditional YouTube, which hopefully that's where you're picking me up at. So here's the let's get going on page. So what happens here is we auto-generate these game schedules. These game schedules have a built-in box. That built-in box is for a customer to put their email address in. They click which games they want. They are sent a calendar invite, and then you, the organizer, tracks this data in the organizer snapshot dashboard. Essentially, everything in workflow goes from left to right. So this is number one, auto-generate the pages. Two, you share them. Your customer inserts the data, inserts their email address, clicks the buttons, gets the calendar invite. We track that calendar invite data. And number four, you, the organizer, get a detailed spreadsheet on what's going on with actions from the calendar client. So the actions would be yes, no, or maybe. So that's the setup for that slide. So let's get into the data part. How you inject data into the calendar invite server itself. You're going to inject it using your own business or personal account in Google or Outlook. And you can automate that today with AI. I'm not going to get into that, but essentially, I ingested all the MBA into my personal calendar. I sent that data through automation to a create command, create at calendaransnack.com. That auto-generated these pages here, in which in the demo, I was showing you how I shared it to Mandy. Mandy goes in the picker, can visualize the game schedules, and click send invite to the game she wants. That's the way it works. Essentially, what the calendar client is becomes a CRUD engine. It can talk to the calendar invite server gateway and create, edit, save, and delete individual calendar events in the auto-generated landing pages. Conceptually with AI, as you all know, there's an AI operator out there that can actually run my calendar client and do all this good stuff for me. I'm not going to get into that. So getting NBA data into the calendar invite server at another level, another deep dive. Essentially, I showed you all what I did here. And what happens is it goes to an inbound processor. We process that data. It hits an API. That API here is 1 through 7. We actually have 9. Those two other are for the organizer data for the domain itself, or I should say the domain owner for all the organizers. But essentially what happens here to build these pages on a fly is we're using the same data collection of the NBA games from anything sent to this inbound processor. We store that in AWS. So when you share this page, that page is hit on the internet, and this page here is displayed for your customers to pick out games and send out one-click calendar invites using the calendar invite server APIs down here. So that said, we have stock templates too. So if you look at visualization, the NBA 2026 game looks like that. We do share these. They are free if you buy the calendar invite server. You'll see that one versus this one. Again, these I think are both really good, and they work the same way. The data visualization for the NBA 2026 is the same in this upcoming events page, or what we call the NBA template page, as it is in the stock template for upcoming events. It's the same data, just visualized differently. We're using the same inbound processor. In this case here, we're using the same organizer. So 1, inject the data in. 2, visualize it. 3, share it with your customers. And then when you do share it with your customers, just know that these APIs are working in the background, and then we're tracking all the calendar invites sent in a nice dashboard, as you see here. And anytime your customer changes the intention of their calendar client down here for a particular game, like the Pacers versus Wizards, that data is recollected in the reporting engine. So what at a very detailed level I'm showing is that the inbound processor is an SES API endpoint. That's functionally simple and easy to understand with domain architecture within AWS. We keep it simple at a certain level. I'm going to dive a little bit in to discuss the inbound processor. That data goes into this box. It's system used for ETL and data processing and storage. The organizers send data to the configured SES mailbox to store, update, and delete data using a counter client. We talked about this being a CRAP or CRUD engine. The CRUD engine itself is create, read, update, and delete, and it's not CRAP. That's a joke. This process creates a mapped UID from the calendar client to the calendar event itself. So this is a mapped event in the database, and we score a UID on that. So calendar invite server can update and pull all APIs used to develop the multi-event mini sites. So these APIs are important, but also the center and first principle design is the UID. So that UID is always pulled up and visualized in the upcoming events pages. So that said, I talked about the inbound processor, how data gets in, we disassemble it, we put it in a store for the UID for that particular event. So here I'm showing the stock event schedule generated versus the custom event schedule generated. They're both for the same organizer. The data, as I said before, is just visualized differently. And then the particular part about data and data validation is if the organizer over here needs to change anything on the upcoming events calendar, they just go in and hit edit and they save. And that basically changes the data that are in these event pages. So same here, same process works. Zach would go in, he can change any data here on his personal calendar or business calendar and sends it to the box, and the landing pages and all the data for the game details are all updated automatically. There's nothing else he needs to do. And then in particular, this is how the outbound processor works. So the outbound processor is essentially one of the three major processors. We have an inbound, we have an outbound, and we have an update processor. Those are based on 30 Lambda functions that talk to the 9 APIs. So if we head back up, zoom way out, this API number 1 here is based on a whole bunch of functions. I'm not going to get into Lambda functions that run in your AWS account when you install it. But the important part is it's been hardened, and we've had over 4,000 customers send out a couple million calendar invites. So this whole thing works. So what happens in the outbound processor is this API 1 is embedded into these pages for these particular UIDs. So when Mandy puts her email address in and clicks get the invites, the calendar invite is sent out to that Mandy at techvader.com, and the calendar receipts are requested. That's all bundled in this API 1, and that sets in here for the outbound processor for the calendar invite server. So as I walk you through that, and you zoom way out and zoom back in, here's Mandy again at techvader.com. She's in the magic box. She puts her email in this box. When she sets her email in this, she is able to send one-click calendar invites to herself, in which they're tracked here in the back-end data engine. So the update processor kind of works in a separate pathway using our functions, our Lambda functions and workflows, but essentially it's transparent. So anybody can go into their personal client, any data that's been sent to the calendar invite server to that box, create a calendar snack.com, they can go and update and cancel, save those, which are two separate commands, updating the data or canceling the calendar invite, and hitting save. We actually put together this logic that says we're going to pass it through the messaging pipeline. So examples of this or organizers can include invite date, time, location, or message body changes for promotional offers, or they might just want to cancel the calendar invite. The updated calendar invite is sent to those customers who received the first calendar invite and responded yes or no. calendar receipts are then requested and sent back. That's how that workflow works. So in great detail here is part of our intellectual property. Anytime I use API 1, it is going to send out a correctly crafted calendar invite directly to the person's calendar. But the importance is we're going to request a participation role. That is, we're going to request the calendar client itself. If any data is manipulated in the buttons for yes, no, or maybe, in these two cases, we're going to actually collect the calendar receipt back to the API gateway, and we're going to grind that data into a visualization engine. This data here is resident out on the web. It's living in your customer's calendar client box in their calendar, but we're always talking to it if we need to, and it's expressed as the customer is possibly changing the yes, no, or maybe around, and we're collecting that data is the importance of it. More importantly, this status pipeline is updated all the way up until the time of the event. So when the customer changes his mind, we're collecting the data. So here are more examples. Operational workflow for the NFL, we did the same thing. So I'm just going to walk through it again. We have an embedded calendar invite page for the NFL. Somebody picks out a game, clicks get the calendar invite. The calendar invites go out. We collect the data on those in the reporting engine, and then at a granular report for the organizer, they can click one button and get all the details of who signed up for the event with their current status. So I'm going to walk through the same diagrams, getting the data in the calendar invite server for the NFL the same way. We did a batch upload of all the NFL games into a personal calendar or business calendar for Outlook or Google. That data is injected into the inbound processor for the calendar invite server. This console is then populated with that data, and then that data is served up by these APIs here. Now, we did the same thing. We built out a custom NFL page for upcoming events. It's using the same data set, and the workflow is the same with the inbound processor. We process it all the same as what I'm trying to show you and visualize here using the same APIs. So when someone like Greg puts in his email address, clicks buttons, he gets the particular calendar invites for those particular games. And then we have examples of how we're visualizing game data across MLB, NBA, and the official NBA, NFL, and MLB games, as you know, are changing year to year, season to season. So what I've done here is capture the NFL. You can kind of see schedule for the 21st of December, schedule for the 28th of December, and schedule for the 29th of December. All this data is displayed in a nice display, or your customers can put in their email address, click get the calendar invite, and you can track and send out promotions. So again, back to first principles, we collect all that data, and this one specifically is showing a NFL data collection. And then if you want to know more, you can go to that address, NFL2025.calendarsnack.com. We have a great teammate, Arnie, who is a co-founder, put together the breakdown on how NFL and NBA seasons are built with our technology stack of using the AWS calendar invite server along with a front end he built with Vue.js and how our APIs work. That's the end of the long-winded session here, and thanks for stopping by today on February 20th, 2026.